Is JD Vance a friend or an enemy of Israel? This is a question that so many of you have been asking me, especially after a few videos ago I said something along the lines of, I don't think that JD is really going to be a proper ally to us. And so many of you are like, what? How could you say that? What do you mean? Where's your proof? And whilst I don't have actual concrete evidence for this, meaning I don't have a video of JD Vance saying, I won't support Israel, I have a bunch of different points of reference that seem to be pointing towards the fact that whilst JD is an anti-Israel, he is not against Israel. He is very, very much part of the American First group, which is a good thing. You're allowed to be America First if you're an American, especially if you're a vice president. But he's leaning way more towards the America First against Israel group than the America First and Israel is a good ally group. And that's really what we've seen a lot in the Republican movement, this kind of the separation between those who believe that the relationship with Israel is a positive thing and those who see Israel as like the evil Zionist controlling people. And JD's tended to kind of move himself towards those. There's a word for that group. I can't remember that exact word, but it's the Tucker Carlson types, okay? And JD gets a lot of his voters from that. He's not part of the older evangelical, massively staunchly Zionist group. He's definitely part of this kind of newer, independent style voice. And he says and describes himself as this like blue-collar guy who's really got himself up to power. We've seen the movies, we've read the books, and they're all great. JD came to Israel a few weeks ago. And the fact that he came to Israel was a very important diplomatic move that we all have to really recognize and understand. Number one, it means that the American voter base that's pro-Israel is still very, very big. Okay? As much as these kind of outsiders, what's the word? I can't remember the word. Put it in the comments if you remember it. This group of like the independents, anti-Israel Republicans is growing. It definitely is growing, and the support for Israel has lessened. There's still an enormous group of people who love Israel, support Israel, stand by Israel, and JD knows that. That's why he's come. He's come because we are pretty sure, despite the fact that we hear Steve Bannon saying that Trump is going to run again for presidency, JD's definitely going to try and take the ticket for the next round, okay? We know that. And that's a big part of why Israel is being very, very careful right now with the annexation of Judea and Samaria. If you don't know what I'm talking about, when JD was here on this trip, Israel, or people in the Israeli government, decided to push a motion forward to see if they could annex Judea and Samaria, which JD then had to come out saying, like, we're against the annexation of the West Bank. That's not going to happen, okay? And the waters are being tested because in about 2 years, 2-3 years, JD might become Israel's next ally in America. And if that's the case, we're not always going to have this golden era of Trump who loves Israel and believes in Israel and supports Israel. We are definitely going to have somebody who's a little bit more on the fence about it. Okay, a little bit more on the fence. Him coming to Israel, again, is a good sign because it means that he understands that he needs to have a strong relationship with Israel, and he wants those voters, those potential voters who do support Israel, to see him as that. But he is still playing both sides. Watch this clip and tell me if you understand what I mean.
I'm a Christian man, and I'm just confused why that there's this notion that we might have owe Israel something, or that they're our greatest ally, or that we have to support this multi-hundred-billion-dollar foreign aid package to Israel to cover this, to quote Charlie Kirk, ethnic cleansing in Gaza. I'm just confused why this idea has come around, considering the fact that not only does their religion not agree with ours, but also openly supports the prosecution of ours.
Yeah, so let's say a few things about this. First of all, when the President of the United States says America first, that means that he pursues the interests of Americans first. That is our entire foreign policy. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to have alliances, that you're not going to work with other countries from time to time. And that is what the president believes, is that Israel, sometimes they have similar interests to the United States and we're going to work with them in that case. Sometimes they don't have similar interests to the United States. And this example, the most recent Gaza peace plan that all of us have been working on very hard for the past few weeks, the president of the United States could only get that peace deal done by actually being willing to apply leverage to the state of Israel. So when people say that Israel is somehow manipulating or controlling the president of the United States, they're not controlling this president of the United States, which is one of the reasons why we'd be able to have some of the success that we've had in the Middle East. Now you ask about, sort of Jews disagreeing with Christians on certain religious ideas? Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the realities is that Jews do not believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. Obviously, Christians do believe that. There are some significant theological disagreements between Christians and Jews. My attitude is, let's have those conversations. Let's have those disagreements when we have them. But if there are shared areas of interest, we ought to be willing to do that too. For example, one thing I really, really care about is the preservation of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. Christians believe that that is the site where Jesus Christ was crucified, and also that his tomb is right there as well. My attitude is, if we can work with our friends in Israel to make sure that Christians have safe access to that site, that's an obvious area of common interest. I am fine with that. What I'm not okay with is any country coming before the interests of American citizens, and it is important for all of us, assuming we're American citizens, to put the interest of our own country first. That's what we're going to do. That's what we try to do every single day, I promise you. Thank you.
Okay, so that's a very good answer, and it's wonderful, and it's honestly the correct answer that a president of America should have, a future president, right? We put America first. The problem is going to be, and this is why I say I'm hesitant, is which Americans are we listening to when we say America first? And that's what I'm watching with JD Vance at the moment. Who is he talking to? Which youth is he interested in going after? Is it the pro-Israel, the Jews, the Christians who support us? Or is it this other alternative group who is more and more and more becoming angry at everything that we're doing with Israel? Look, I don't think JD hates Israel. I don't think Vance sees us as like a terrible enemy to the United States. I don't think he thinks that we control them. I think he knows full well that it is the opposite way and that America has a lot of sway on what Israel does and always probably will. That's the dynamic of our relationship, which is so ironic. But he is moving more and more and more towards the voter base of people who don't like us. And if he's going to move forward with this America First thing, and that voter base is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger in the understanding that America First is actually anti-Israel because that is what they believe, then we are probably going to have a problem. We do not have the deep and immense commitment to Israel and everything that's important from Israel from Vance that we do from Trump. And therefore, I'm wary of it. Where do we, yes, have that commitment? Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio loves Israel deeply. He has a deep deference and an understanding of what goes on here in a real way. Vance does not. I think Marco Rubio would have annexed Judea and Samaria in a second. They're not doing that now because of different things that are going on with Saudi Arabia and this peace deal and trying to move it forward, etc. I happen to also believe, by the way, that Trump is America First way before Israel. Way, way before Israel. Just happens to be that his voter base and the people that he believes and he agrees and supports with see the importance of the alliance with Israel. I have not yet been convinced that America under JD Vance is going to feel the same way. That is what I meant, and I want to clarify that statement because I think it's important. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre, by the way, is an important thing to discuss because under the Palestinian two-state solution, whatever it is, that was, by the way, proposed by the UK, etc., if the Arabs, the Muslims, have access to the old city in Jerusalem the way they want to, Christians are not going to have access to the church the way that they now have the freedom to. Because under Israel, other religions have a huge amount of freedom. Under Islam, other religions do not. It's pretty simple. Thank you for your attention to this matter.